with Polygon Pythagoras. MetaMask, yeah, crypto cash. Yeah, I seen the metaverse through MetaTope, my eyes a megaphone. Customize my empty skin to optimize my flesh and bone. Phase 1, evolution, revolution. Smart contracts inside your smartphone. Phase 1, evolution, revolution. Help me CT's phone. Full body markerless motion capture. The metaverse broken after the MetaTope golden era. The whitelist still open, hurry up what you need, golden chariot. Holy virgins that's holding cherubims, paving the road with fairy dust. Create the avatar of your wildest dreams, yeah. And use it inside your live stream. And all your metaverses, favorite games and widescreen. MetaTope, visualize your digital.
By listening to the following, you are acknowledging that the comments, opinions, and analyses expressed by MetaTope LLC, its representatives, or any other contributor are for informational purposes only and should not be considered individual investment or legal advice or recommendations to make an investment or adopt any investment strategy. You should be aware of the real risk of loss when buying and selling any assets, including but not limited to NFTs, tokens, or securities. Always conduct your own research and strongly consider seeking the advice of a financial or legal expert. And now, here's Crypto Chris G with TopeTalk.
What up, what up? How's everyone doing today? Thank you, Mr. Medic, for the DJ session there. Get us started. Appreciate you swinging that into the mix. It was a good choice of songs there. Good to see everyone in the space today. Thanks for jumping in here pretty early on this Thursday evening. And yeah, let's kind of get started with some introductions. We'll run into some market analysis with Walker, and then go into some news and talk about what's going on in the space. So how's everyone doing today? What's going on, Crypto Medic?
Just in the case that the SEC is listening, I don't know who this Crypto Medic is you're talking about, but I hear he's a good guy and he's happy to be here.
Okay. Understood. Great. What's going on, Enzo? How you doing, man?
Hey, man. How's it going? I'm doing fantastic. It's been nice and sunny here in Uruguay the past couple of days. But I did hear that you guys are having some sort of hurricane or tornado, so please take care, Chris.
Oh, yeah, that already happened, bud. I mean, the water's already subsided. It didn't even, barely touch Tampa, so luckily there was not much, in my area, but there was some, flooding and stuff, which was expected, so everyone's good. Hope everyone north of, the north side of Florida is safe, and, yeah. Let's run it over to Walker. What's going on, Walker?
Yo, what's going on? Welcome to Walt Daddy's Digital Digest. We had a crazy week. I've got some fun, exhilarating, and downright disruptive news. The court sides with Grayscale. And, many people thought that this was going to push the ETF through, but as expected, we saw, the SEC push it back another 45 days. Market analysts, including Bloomberg, have now stated that they think there is a 75% chance of seeing a Bitcoin spot ETF by the end of the year. We just saw a federal judge in New York stand up for DeFi, dismissed the class action against Uniswap. Really great to see these proceedings and start to see some precedent be put into place. And last but not least, the SEC takes its first enforcement action regarding NFTs. And before we dive deeper into that, because I'm sure every speaker here has some really great perspective on that, we're gonna spot over to the DXY. Dollar's been ripping. It's come back above this trend line that we've been making since May, that it got rejected off of. It's broken above it, starting to see a little bit of a pullback. Today, we lost the 200 MA. So, we could see this break back into this range. If we do, risk on assets probably get a pump. If we, continue to see it stay strong, then we're probably going to be in a de-risking environment. But interestingly enough, the S&P 500, the Dow typically, trades inversely with the dollar index, and it did not this week. We saw the S&P put a higher low in on the 25th, and it has been absolutely ripping Is this making an elongated head and shoulders for a big pullback? We're going to have to wait and see. But I would definitely be careful in this range because, we saw it get rejected really hard on July 27th. And that's where we saw that big pullback, started losing our averages. And then hopping over to the old faithful, the BTC, man, it's been crazy. I mean, we've seen these massive price swings over the last 48 hours, running up above 28, busted through the 200-day moving average only to get sent right back down. And we are currently, testing that low and that bottom that we've been making since August 18th. So, really an interesting zone here for Bitcoin. I did, this is completely personal. This is not financial advice. I have no idea what I'm doing. I took a long here on Bitcoin. And the reason for that is we have a trend line going all the way back to November 10th. And we have held this trend line multiple times. So I'm really, really expecting that $300 level to show some really strong support. If we do break below it, get a confirmation, I will close that trade, lick my wounds, and move on to the next one. But with no further ado, let's get into it.
For sure, man. No, I appreciate that. You kind of started off our news articles that we're going to jump into in a minute here, but did have someone stop by. What's going on, Adam? How you doing today, man?
What's up, Chris? I stopped by because I need a break. I spent the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Denver for Rare Evo. It sucks you couldn't make it out. That was kind of fun, man. There was only about 500 people, but no random foot traffic. All people you know and love. I was hanging out with BitBoy the entire 3 days, and then I get back to San Francisco, and I take a 16-hour long overdue nap/sleep because I missed my first flight. And I wake up to 1,000 text messages from all sorts of people due to the drama going on. So that's been my last 3 days, and I kind of just want to listen to some regular crypto nonsense to get my mind off it.
Yeah, I feel you, man. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously I've seen the news and stuff, but I don't really care about drama much these days. It's kind of just I avoid it as fast as possible. So yeah, just been kind of keeping an eye on what's going on in the world. Obviously, Walker touched base on what's happening regarding the delay, which I think was expected. But on the other note of it, Bitcoin ETFs are getting a 75% chance of approval. So that's been raised, and that's good news. So I think that went up like 10% earlier in the year, and I think it could be crazy if it's up in a done deal position maybe in like 2024. These people like to move really slow, so potentially maybe even like 2025. But yeah, that's some cool stuff when it comes to legal. Obviously, we have some gaming news here. A little bit earlier this week, there was some announcements of what there was an announcement trailer came out for Sugartown, and curious to see what you guys think about this. We kind of had an idea that the Grand Theft Auto series was going to start. There was rumors that they were integrating crypto at some capacity.
Hey, you want some NDA information on that?
What's up?
Want NDA information on that?
I mean, it's recorded, so it's up to you.
I don't give a fuck anymore because I quit Viral Nation a long time ago. Rockstar contacted us last year to do an exploratory call for how we would convert Can we do a lot of regular game marketing to them? How we would handle if they were to integrate NFTs. That was like November.
That's cool. Yeah, makes sense. I mean, obviously they need to get their due diligence in before trying to do any type of building, but it's cool because the Sugartown trailer came out, and that mobile gaming sector is ran by Zynga, who owns that 2Take Interactive and then also Rockstar Games. So they're already making a push towards Web3 with a new franchise with announcing Sugartown, but this could be also a part of their use case and kind of understanding before bringing this into maybe a game like Grand Theft Auto and really getting some market analysis and data. So I'm really interested to see how far this goes. and how people accept if they do, people are receptive to Sugartown.
I'll tell you this much. I used to work for Zynga back in 2015 here in San Francisco. They have a giant building out there. I was a lowly community manager at the time. The thing with Zynga, man, why I think anything they touch in crypto is going to be dead on the water, is because they hire low, man. Like the starting wage for a Zynga employee, you wouldn't think this for a large scale gaming studio based in Silicon Valley. It's only $40K a year, and as soon as you make it past like the 120K threshold, which is pretty standard in our industry, that's like an entry level job. You're held to high regards, and they think they can replace you with like an intern. They will. So I think they're going to fumble the ball because the most common mistake that mainstream companies, Web 2 companies, make when entering Web 3 is they overestimate their existing user base's ability to do their own knowledge and research. They simply won't, while also overestimating the excitement, the hype, and need of the Web3 audience to their arrival. Most will look at them as a quick cash grab. So what they need to do is actually hire people who know what they've been doing and been doing it in this industry for years. And I'm telling you right now, they won't do that.
Yeah. I mean, I think you hope that like over the course of years that companies learn from their mistakes, and maybe not. Maybe this does flop for them, but I still think it'll be a great time and onboarding hopefully of more liquidity into the market through this type of offering. So I mean that's something I kind of hope for, regardless of what it actually does. It's kind of just getting more eyeballs that people that might not have ever been exposed at any degree. But more from like the Web3 gaming space, we've had a new RPG Champions Arena was launched on Gala Games. There's a company called Zillion Whales. It launched a mobile RTS called Wild Forest. That's been announced for the Ronin blockchain. There's NFL Rivals. Launched their mobile NFT game, and that has an in-game marketplace. So I'm actually going to try that one. I'm really curious to see what that looks like. There's a French DJ, Agoria, and the Sandbox are collaborating to launch an avatar collection. So that's obviously something that here at Metatope we're going to be keeping an eye on as well regarding the avatar side. This is a big one, I think. The next two are pretty crazy. You have Netmarbles partnered with Aptos to expand in multi-chain gaming universe. I mean, Netmarbles is huge. And then Nexon's Maple Story universe is working with Chainlink as its Web3 infrastructure provider. So I think if anyone's here been in the gaming industry for a long time, Maple Story was a huge success for gamers and like especially the Asian market with their 2D style type of offering. So that would be pretty crazy to see if a lot of these gaming companies really taking a stance here and positioning themselves with different chains outside of Ethereum, Solana, and pretty much the main ones. And that's bullish for like chains like Arbitrum, Avalanche, some of these others that aren't specifically like that gaming's been on lately has been Polygon, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how these companies, these bigger successful gaming franchises, work with these partnerships to create an opportunity, and hopefully we all see the benefits. It'd be really good to see some of these work out and be successful. So I'm always optimistic on that. But if anybody got any takes they want on here,
Which came first, the announcement from Nexon or Netmarble?
not sure. I could probably let me pull up the two articles here.
Were they the same day?
Let's see. This one, August 23rd was Maple Story, and the August 24th was Aptos from their Twitter.
Okay, listen. I worked for all those companies you mentioned back in the day. Third-party community manager for several Nexon and Netmarble games.
Yeah, they work
They're
at the
both
same
Korean
company.
companies, right? The thing is that they are the biggest competitors to each other. It's like there's Xbox and PlayStation. In Korea, there is Nexon and Netmarble, and occasionally NetEase will flop over from China and try to take it over. The thing with both those companies is Nexon is gamer first. They employ gamers. They employ comic book writers or manga writers, I guess. They do a lot of testing. Where Netmarble, they're more business oriented. They make a lot of partnerships with various companies. They put a lot of a lot of money behind user acquisition efforts. They reskin a lot of games. They buy up a lot of companies, particularly from China. You'll have a couple of these Chinese mobile developers that will basically copy a game that's already made, but make it better. And then Netmarble will take that game, rebrand it to themselves, and then sue the original game it's based off of. That way they don't have any competitors. In that regard, you can guarantee that Nexon's going to hire Web3 people and crypto people to make sure their shit works. Netmarble won't, but they'll put a lot of money behind it, so that's all you'll see for a while. But eventually that could rug, and Nexon won't, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, dude, I think anyone in Web2 side knows what, like, a lot of these companies have a reputation for pay to win, right? So I still expect the whale games to take place. That's never been out of my mind, to be honest with you, man.
Nexon's not one of the rare mobile games in the pay to win. Of course, they have to do monetization, but the monetization, their bare minimum makes sense. It funds the company, and they get a good chunk of the percentage back to not only their employees, but also their influencers and so on and so forth. That Marvel doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, let's see what happens. We just got joined. One of the homies I just met in a Twitter space the other day, Chris Meme Kong, absolute genius. We talked for a while in the space. He's got a lot of passion for the industry, and I wanted to give him a shout out. What's up, man? Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, what's up, my brother from another mother? How you doing, Chris?
Shit! You just used crypto.
We got another one. We got another one.
They're gonna fight.
Didn't know you were gonna do us like that, Chris.
Well, I figured we share the same name because our parents are so original and creative. I figured he's just my brother. So anyhow, but gave me an invite to come up here and join your spaces. So it's a pleasure to meet you guys and connect with you guys. I just wanted to kind of just chill out and see what you guys are talking about. I see the titles, the SEC versus NFTs. So that's always an interesting subject. But thanks for the invite.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Hey, double Chris's, not the doxy, but what year, what decade were you born in?
Oh man, I'm 45, so I'm probably one of the older people, if not the oldest person in this group. I feel like one of the oldest people in crypto at times, but
Medic Medic's a retired helicopter medic, so he might have.
Yeah, he's on Medicare, bro. You're good.
Oh, all right.
I'm just saying. One of my favorite things to do on Tinder dates, right, is ask them their name and then look up their date of birth and see how popular that name was in the hierarchy, how unpopular or still popular it is now. I do that with girls I have no connection with. I can't figure out conversation. It still works. It leads to long ass laughable conversations, and some of them end up with a good time. I will know this from being on a recent date. A top 5 name to name a boy in 2023. Top 5 name is gold, meaning there are millions of American children, American boys being named gold right now.
Wow,
interesting. Okay.
Wait until crypto becomes a name.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm gonna name my son Ethereum or anything like that, but
you might name him NFT.
Yeah, that might might actually be fine. But
how many parodies do you think we have running around?
I'm just gonna pick my favorite shitcoin from the days. I'll be like, all right, son, your name is Frog Dog.
Yo, someone's named Doge. I guarantee it.
Oh yeah,
some
for
fucking
sure,
ass
bro.
got rich on Doge and named their shit Doge.
Oh man, that's great. But no, you brought up a good point. We were just about to go into that conversation about the NFT side with the SEC. It's pretty interesting, man. I mean, it's kind of like they are using this as like almost like you got to start with someone, right? And I really didn't look too much into what Impact Theory did regarding their collection, so maybe someone has more info on that. But to see them, raked in $30 million, selling 3 tiers, and then basically getting hit for $6 million on this lawsuit, it seems like kind of a slap on the wrist if they were really doing something bad.
Yeah, I haven't had any personal experience, fortunately, with the SEC. But I think we talked, Chris, a little bit, and I told you that my first adult job, I was a stockbroker when I was 20, and I ended up climbing through the ranks in that financial aspect, and eventually was a partner in an investment bank. I held 4 different securities licenses, my 63, my 7, And then I went on, initially I got my 63, my 7, and then I went on to get my 24, which was a principal's license when I became a partner in investment bank. And then I also went on to get my 5, which was to trade options. And, I spent, I would say, a little over a decade in that industry. Ended up out on Wall Street, and then just due to some family stuff going on, my mom getting diagnosed with terminal cancer, I ended up selling my interest in the investment bank in New York and moving back to Texas to kind of help see her through that journey. So I got out of that space, and after she passed, I was just really turned off with the investment banking space. Although it is very lucrative, it's a very morally bankrupt space. It's a lot of narcissism and very ego driven, and it's all about the money. And at the end of the day, when you come across a situation like I did with my mom, and realizing that money's not everything. Our most valuable, our most important commodity is time, right? It's our most precious commodity. And so after that, I wanted to do something different. And so I ventured out in the medical field, and just opened up some medical clinics that are still thriving today. I don't run them anymore, which is great. I sold a controlling interest and maintain a decent amount of equity and just kind of get a quarterly dividend check. So that's kind of on autopilot. And then, it's kind of bouncing around doing different entrepreneurial type stuff. I've owned multiple businesses, bought and sold. Obviously, it sounds like a great success story, but I want you guys to know that I've definitely freaking had my failures, bro. Like, I've learned a lot of lessons along the way. I like to tell people life is like a chart, a bullish chart, as long as you're making higher highs and higher lows, because things don't ever go up in a straight line. If you think you're just going to skyrocket to and hit all your goals and it's going to be that easy, that's not the case, man. But as long as you're leveling up, every single day, it makes a big difference. And I've done some motivational speaking. I've done a bunch of different things. But, when crypto came out, I wish I would have gotten involved earlier, but I did started getting involved in 2017 and kind of just stacking altcoins that had real utility. Just because of my background, I found it really, really tough to invest in things that, quote unquote, didn't have utility. But, I was buying a lot of your coins that you guys are familiar with. I had big positions in like Chainlink and ADA and VeChain, and a lot of your top 20 cryptos. And they did Matic was one that I just really crushed it with. When they were Polygon, and so I had a lot of in the last bull. So I had like 2018, 2017, 2018, 2019, like 3 years of really just adding to my portfolio and just kind of DCAing and just buying and holding. And when COVID kicked in, right before that, I just that's when I had sold my majority, well, not majority, but my controlling interest in my medical clinics. And I decided, you know what, I want to travel all over the world and just kind of do different business deals and doing investment banking deals here and there. And so I had just started a fintech company that is still going today. We have artificial intelligence software that trades foreign currency exchange markets, and we're doing some really dope stuff in machine learning, which is cool because I'd love to talk to you guys. And in Web 3.0 and Unreal Engine 5 and with NFTs. And so, that's something we can talk about a little later. And I'd love to introduce you to one of my buddies who's just a complete genius. Just an attorney. He's got his MBA. He's got an he's an aeronautical engineer, and also has a finance degree. And he ended up working for Ian Maloof, one of the Maloof brothers, and helped him take his company from at 25 years old. He needed an attorney and an engineer, and he filled that role and helped him take it from like multi-million to multi-billion. Retired at 30, and he got involved in crypto at 2020 and 2013. He's did Ethereum as an ICO, still hasn't even sold one, which is kind of wild. But he was a big hedge fund guy and stuff, but he's put about 100 million of his own funds into this metaverse that I guarantee you guys haven't even heard of because he just didn't need any money. So he's been flying under the radar, but we can talk about that in a little bit. But so I was just kind of like, all right, I want to be free and not have to oversee any brick and mortar type business, right? Because if you own a business and it's brick and mortar, you have to be there. If you're not there, typically things are not going to operate well. And then when COVID hits, that kind of ruined a lot of the travel plans. So it's kind of locked up in the house, and I really started actively trading my crypto portfolio. Started getting into the degen space, shit coining. Went through the trenches in that space.
Chris, when you got into the NFTs, like where did you see like similarities and like what the SEC was doing and like what you've been used to do in like stocks and stuff to what they're kind of doing with NFTs now?
I have to dig more. I'm not like a big NFT guy, right? So you guys could probably really coach me up. I've kind of steered clear just because like my good friend James, is an attorney, and it's just like NFTs are cool, but I was always like really hard, like I said, I was a utility guy, right? Like I wouldn't touch tokens unless they had some kind of utility until you saw like the Doges and the Shivs, and then I realized like, damn, I'm leaving a lot of money on the table. This whole community-driven token aspect is just, something that I can't rule out. The power of the community is really powerful, So I changed my perspective and changed my mindset. But in regards to NFTs, especially if you live in the States, the moment that you take an NFT and you turn it into an income-bearing asset, right? The moment that you transfer that asset opens you up to investigation by the SEC. The moment you sell it, right? So there's I've just kind of like the last thing I want is the SEC crawling up my ass. Like I'm fully doxxed in this space. I know that they can make your life miserable if they so choose. Granted. I think that it's all about the money. I feel like every government's like that. Every government agency's like that. They're just all about the money. So you kind of hit the nail on the head when you said, yeah, they got slapped with a $6 million fine, but they netted $30 million. You see a lot of that, even in investment banking, right? Guys doing some, insider trading, getting away with just, a number of different things with the slap on the wrist, paying some hefty fines because, it's just really all about the money at the end of the day. So, I'm eager to learn more about what you guys have going on, in regards to NFTs. I ended up, I did launch my own token back in 2022 called Meme Kong. And I kind of launched it going into the bear market. We were able to get it up to about a $36 million market cap. I still have Meme Kong, but I went to launch a V2 contract. I'm not a developer. I can barely turn my laptop on, guys. So, that's not my forte. I'm more of like a founder, figurehead, speaker, that kind of thing. And so had a really strong team around me, but the developer that I was initially working with, he kind of had, me and him were cool, but he just kind of, he kind of had a little bit of black cloud around him.
Space is recorded. Remind
Yeah, stays recorded.
Yeah, absolutely. And he kind of had a little bit of black cloud around him. So I just kind of was like, I'm not, it kind of severed some ties with him. And I brought in a developer that I thought I could trust to do V2 of the contract, which is just an insane hyper deflationary contract. And I brought this guy in that, had his master's degree and everything on paper looked really good. But when it came down to it, he wasn't who he represented himself to be. And 3 days after, so 3 days after we deployed the V2 contract in May, on Mother's Day, there was a malicious exploit in the contract and the LP pool got drained. So on that day, I took a hit of about $400K. I've since then liquidated a couple $100,000 in assets to offset the LP pool, brought in another developer from my community that was an OG this guy as, you know, somebody that I can trust, fortunately, because it's really hard to find people that you can trust in this space. And this
It
guy
does
is
sound like you're trying to convince yourself of this right now.
oh, I'm not at all. I mean,
Yeah,
this guy literally
let's bring it back on topic, because I do want to, like, we do have an idea, like a kind of what we want to talk here with the agenda. So I appreciate you jumping into your coin and stuff, like, and what, you know, what happened. But I mean, I'd like to take that more offline to get a better idea of what you know, what you got going on.
Perfect. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so like, Walker, if you're here, man, I'd like to hear what you think about the whole NFT side of this, what the SEC has done, and you know what your thoughts are moving forward when it comes to like these collections launching.
Yeah, bro. Let me get my thoughts back here. So number one, the lawsuit that we saw from the SEC did not only demand a $6 million, I think it was $6.1 million payout, but they also are setting up a fund to give those investors money back. Now, the what I've seen, it did not state whether those investors would be made whole, but it was not just the $6 million. It's additional, and we'll have to see, you know, what that payout comes to. And then also, you know, we were talking about the spot ETF for Bitcoin, and that was not just a 75% chance of a spot ETF for Bitcoin. That was a 75% chance by the end of the year. And one of the top analysts of ETFs has already stated that he believes that the percentage by Q4 will be 95%. So really, really exciting news there. And, you know, when we're looking at, you know, the regulatory framework around NFTs, I think that this ruling, you know, there's some really positive things about it, right? The SEC could have came out and just fired shots as they have at crypto many times and said NFTs are securities, right? They did not do that in any manner. They looked at this one situation, they opened it up. We're going to see a lot, you know, I don't know if there will be a discovery in this case, but we'll have some groundwork, right, for a ruling. So I think it's a really positive thing in the long run, and it puts NFTs into, you know, kind of a more legible category, and something that we should start to see, you know, negative frameworks, but also positive frameworks and lobbying start to be introduced for this industry. So I'm really excited.
You know, you make a pretty good point there. For the last like 3 years, I've been telling, or since I don't know what my math is, it's 2021, whenever NFTs boomed up. I've been telling people, man, you know, the biggest issue is the SECs are going to look at these things and not understand them. They're going to go, why are people buying these? Why are people paying $200,000 for pictures of apes? They're just not going to be able to relate. Therefore, they're going to think, well, it has to be a scam, it has to be a Ponzi, it has to be, even if we can't prove it, even if we have no evidence, there has to be something illegal going at play here, because we just cannot relate to individuals liking and buying and collecting these damn things. So the fact that they actually haven't like said these are all securities, and they just looked at one individual, did their due diligence. I hate to say it because I hate the SEC and much of next, but they're doing a good job.
I think much better than expected. And again, you know, we start to kind of look and say, wow, you know, we got, you know, this positive enforcement and this judgment, you know, for Grayscale. We're seeing now, you know, this probably has a lot more to do with BlackRock and who's bankrolling, but, you know, we're seeing the SEC really look at a spot ETF and being in a position where it is, you know, even likely at this point. And although, you know, we all hate it and we don't like the powers that be.
Oh, are we losing Walker here?
Lost you, bro. You got rugged.
Yeah, he's in Podunk, Alabama right now. So, you know, they got to start the Wi-Fi. With, like,
bro, they rugged you. You're rugged off.
Yeah, you're back.
Back, sweet. Yeah, I was just saying, you know, the powers that be, we none of us like them, but this is what's going to get crypto in the forefront and really put us in a position where we're going to have an opportunity for mass adoption for a big portion of this industry. And you know, when you take Bitcoin and you put a spot ETF up and you think about like the attention, the investment, just the overall awareness that you're going to get for this asset class. We know how it flows, right? That's the introductory for many people. And as you know, the younger generation, right, they see Bitcoin being adopted as truly like this probably regulated to some degree form of money. I think it really validates the future of this industry and will cause people to really start to spend some time here and start to find the communities, even into the NFT market that they want to be a part of. And I think that these next few years are going to be they're going to be legendary.
I'd also think like some people that like want to get into this stuff, they might not care to like really. They're gonna just like be like, hey, look, price goes up and price goes down, but they might actually. It's silly as it sounds, buy something for the art when it's that easy. Like, oh shit, like well now I feel like I have some crypto. Okay, I have this cool picture. All right, but that's just still like getting that opportunity is still onboarding, and it can always make somebody more curious. So like I think there's everyone thinks that like oh my god everyone's going to adopt this. Everyone has to use crypto. Some people are not, and it's going to be okay. But I mean, like that's the whole point of if we zoom out and look at what is early, we're in before like the rules even exist. So as rules come into place, it's almost like someone needs the rules to play the game of life. Like to play the actual like board game. So I think once we create those opportunities, which take time, trial and error. I mean, it's obviously not easy. Like you would hope, like for example, friend.tech, like when that came out on base, like that's a very like they got a good opportunity, but still, how do you onboard normal people into friend.tech? Like it was hard enough. It's hard enough for me to like actually without looking at the instructions on how to bridge to base right now to do it, like without even without having like that stuff in front of me. So I hope that we see companies like Coinbase that have started stuff like this that have a bigger goal in mind, capitalize on those opportunities for the greater good. Because even though like I'm not a big fan of Coinbase, they still can bring a lot more eyeballs and a lot more liquidity, and that's the end result, right? I mean, it's kind of crazy to see with the market. Right now it had like some almost like a fake pump into this like with that SEC news, and then today it was bleeding out again, and it's like all right, interesting. And then now you also have this death cross forming on Ethereum. And typically, I mean, Walker, if you want to touch on what a death cross is, and and hopefully that it doesn't play out correctly on Ethereum.
Yeah, well, a lot of times a death cross can be a lagging indicator. You'll typically see a drop, after a death cross is confirmed. But I've found, when if I look at my target ranges, below where a death cross is, finding that next support in some cases can be an incredible entry. But again, and I've stated this multiple times. So when you're looking at what reality, right? What does it change if we have a spot ETF for Bitcoin? What does it change if we have regulatory framework? Well, you're going to open up the door for the fiduciaries, for the governments, the sovereign wealth funds, all of these institutions, more than likely on a global scale for the most part. Of course, there's going to be regions and nations that say, no, we're not doing this. But once we see that in the U.S., you're going to see probably a majority of the world pretty quickly follow suit. And I'm so glad to see this from the U.S. because, now we really have the first sight of clarity that might suggest we are going to introduce policies that don't push these crypto companies overseas. And I think that's a really a much more positive place than we've been.
Perfect. If anyone doesn't have anything to add on that, we can start getting this goes down here. Okay, thought you had something, Adam. But no, real quick. So, I know last time, Chris, we talked. We were in that other chat, but like I said, I'd love to definitely connect with you offline on stuff that we're doing and what you've been up to on when it comes to the meme Kong token, and just see what's happening and go from there. But dude, I mean, appreciate you stopping by. and joining us here for a little bit and sharing a little bit of your story. And it's always good. I'm bullish on people older than me anytime, because there's more experience and wisdom, and it'd be interesting to see like how as this world starts to move more digitally, that you're gonna be ahead of the game from all your all the people in the same age bracket. So it's kind of cool, man. I think it's great that you take the time to learn this, and having that stock and background probably gave you a little bit of assistance when it came to tokenomics and stuff, I would assume, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm just kind of sitting back, listening to you guys and learning. So, I'm at a point in my life where my biggest asset is I know enough to realize I don't know enough. So, I'm always eager to learn. And so, I appreciate you having me up here. So, I'm going to go ahead and just mute the mic and just kind of sit back and be a fly on the wall.
No, for sure, man. We're about to
But
close it
definitely,
out here.
okay.
Hey, you said something. You said something that most people in our space don't actually say anymore. If you don't know something, you pretend you don't say. You don't pretend you know it. You say you don't know it. In our industry, it's almost like a death knell not to know what the hell's going on all the time. So no one ever puts themselves in other people's shoes. For instance, no one has put themselves in the SEC shoes when they were trying to argue that a ETF is different than a futures, and a future is safer for manipulation than an ETF. I think if people had actually put themselves in the SEC shoes, they might have been able to answer that question. But we have an inability to do that. We have to know everything. It becomes fact, and it never is. Nothing in this industry is fact. It's always changing. So it's cool that you know that.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Man, this space is ever changing, ever growing. Obviously, technology is a big part of that. And now, with machine learning and AI, I mean, things are going to be growing at a light speed pace, and there's no way that we can possibly keep up. I don't care how embedded you are in Web3 and just everything that's going on. There's just no way that you can know everything. And I'll be the first person to just say, man, I have no clue what it is that you talk about. And, I definitely don't want to be the smartest person in the room. Typically, sometimes maybe I am, who knows, either way, but you guys are definitely more embedded in that space. But, I feel comfortable with what I do know. And that kind of thing. So, I can definitely consult on some things that I am confident in. But yeah, I do find that a lot of people, instead of just saying, I don't know, they want to act like they know or make
They
up a
act
bunch
like
of
their
shit.
opinion is fact, and that way we don't grow. Man, look how far we fucking come in just the 5-6 years. 2017. Like 2017 was the year of the ICO and like crypto bounties. Can you imagine going back to that? Then we flash forward to the year of the smart contract. That's not even a thing. That's just commonplace now. Then we go to DeFi, and then we ran into NFTs, and then we ran into DAO. We're going into metaverse/GameFi now. Like, and if you go back a year, everyone would swear up and down that these things either were weren't important or they were this thing, and now it's been completely proven false that they're in our crypto sphere and people are using them, and we can see how they work and how they fit into the rest of society. So I mean,
Yeah, it used to be a lot
yeah,
of
man.
promises, man. I think we saw a ton of, especially the gaming sector, have a lot of promises and not a lot of deliveries. So I don't think let's hope that the common investor doesn't put their money into those again, and follow the companies that are actually been taking this market to build. And I mean, that's really what this is, a builder's market. So we'll see who comes out on top. To be honest, guys. I mean, obviously we're a contender here at Metatope. We're definitely working our ass off and producing stuff that we haven't even discussed. I mean, there's some stuff, some freaking awesome news I'd love to just like speak out about, but we're gonna do it right. We're gonna create great marketing around it, and it'll be something that's an actionable product. So, yeah, guys, no, I really appreciate everyone coming through today. We're really excited for the future of the industry, regardless of a short term lag or short term FUD. But it's always good to get some minds together and just get some talk about it, understand a little bit more about what we're doing on a day-to-day basis and what we all believe in. So, again, I appreciate everyone being here. Real quick, Enzo, if you want to take us away, my man.
I just wanted to say one thing. Whenever you do have some time and you're open to talking about it, I'd really love to learn more about what you guys are doing with Metatope and just the scope of that.
Yeah,
So,
man, we'll jump on a call. You, me, and Walker here. He's a executive vice president, co-founder. So we'll jump on a call and see where we have alignment. We're always down, bro. We've been building some amazing partnerships already behind the scenes with some awesome people in the space, some bigger names here. So once we can release that, it'll be sick. Otherwise, we'll definitely show you exactly what our capabilities are, and I think you'll see why we're coming in at waiting for a good time to come in, and also waiting for our product to be that level of impact. And once we're at an impactable level, we're going it's all boots on the ground, I guess, right? It's all full steam ahead. So
you have the right mindset. The more connected you are, the more empowered you are, and obviously, timing is key. So again, thanks again for having me up here. It's good to connect with you guys. It is a kind of tight-knit, small space, so I'm sure we'll cross paths again. And Chris, I'm open to chopping it up with you and your partner anytime, man. So you guys stay safe, and I'll see you around.
And real quick, keep an eye out for whatever Adam does, man. Adam's connected in the industry at high level. He's got a really cool private Telegram group that we have a bunch of people in it.
You want to know what I'm doing?
Can we
at Rare Evo,
do it? Give me like a 2-minute pitch, just a quick 2-minute. I got a meeting at 7.
Make it 5 minutes. Keep Chris here.
No, I got to jump on a call.
30 seconds. At Rare Evo, I met a famous WCW wrestling manager named Sonny Ono. Sonny Ono came to me because I was hanging out with Loudmouth and asked me if that guy was a wrestling manager. He's one of my influencers. Long story short, we are striking a deal to put on professional wrestling shows at conferences. First one will be Breathe. We got some ex-WCW stars that are going to come. Fuck yeah.
No, that's awesome, bro. I actually reached out to Loudmouth and talked to his secretary and was trying to get it with Breathe, but they just ignored me. And then, honestly, I don't know if I want to travel to Vegas in September right now, but I hope everyone that goes is going to have a blast, man. I mean, it's I'm sure I looked at that conference, so really excited for the lineup that's taking place.
No, bro, it's garbage. No, the whole thing's garbage. That's why we're doing it there, so we can run a beta.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, it would be sick to have a live wrestling match at the same one. All right, guys. We got, Enzo. Enzo's usually quiet during these shows, but he does always come through with an impactful ending message. What's up, Top G?
Yo. So I hope everyone had an amazing time at the space. First of all, Adam, Chris, thank you for coming through and teaching us a little bit about yourselves. I just want to say one thing that I learned yesterday was to think outside the box, especially if people are in crypto and they're trading in crypto. Yesterday we saw Bitcoin go and make its way back to 28. A lot of people got long if you look at funding and open interest. And then once those people started to get long, the red candles came. So thinking outside the box, just look at all the information that's available to you through different websites, not just TradingView. You have to see not just what price is doing, but where the people are getting interested in certain coins and stuff. And that will allow you to make a better decision, thinking outside the box, instead of just looking at the chart and just basing your trade off the charts. You have to look at other indicators that are telling you where people are getting long, where people are getting short, and then make a strategy based on that. Backtest the strategy, of course. And from there, if you have a profitable strategy, that's how you make your money. You have to learn to think like regular people think.
Tell my people.
Gotta step outside the box. Thanks, Enzo.
Yeah. Cyberpunk. Yeah. I mix my ETH with Polygon Pythagoras. MetaMask. Yeah. Crypto cash. Yeah. I seen the metaverse through Metatope, my eyes a megaphone. Customize my empty skin to optimize my flesh and bone. Phase 1 evolution, revolution. Smart contracts inside your smartphone. Phase 1 evolution, revolution. Help me ET phone. Full body markerless motion capture. The metaverse broken after the Metatope golden era. The whitelist still open. Hurry up, what you need? Golden chariot. Holy virgins that's holding cherubims, paving the road with fairy dust. Create the avatar of your wildest dreams, yeah, and use it inside your live stream, and all your metaverses. favorite games in widescreen. Metatope, visualize your digital ID. I seen the metaverse through Metatope, my eyes a megaphone. Customize my empty skin to optimize my flesh and bone. Yeah, Metatope is your mirror to the metaverse. Yeah, I seen the metaverse through Metatope, my eyes a megaphone. Customize my empty skin to optimize my flesh and bone.